Arizona advocates attended a number of marches today aimed at pushing Democrats to take action on the Biden administration's Build Back Better plan. We have coverage from our Washington bureau.
Later, we'll talk to the owners of the original Navajo taco stand at the Arizona State Fair, who are spreading their culture to the table.
And coming up, how the Coyotes partnered with the Boys and Girls Club to promote hockey during Hispanic Heritage Month.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Cara Marroquin.
And I'm Julia Sandor. Thank you for joining us. The White House and congressional Democrats are reportedly close to a deal on the Build Back Better plan, a social spending program that started at $3.5 trillion, but may end up at half that. Advocates, including some from Arizona, rallied in D.C. today to nudge Democrats on the plan, as SILVERIO-BAUTISTA reports from our Washington bureau.
Phoenix home health worker Joanne Steed has a first-hand look at the condition of healthcare in the U.S. and a belief that the Build Back Better plan could help with it, along with so much more.
And I say to myself, if you're going to get sick in America, be rich, because poor people die very poorly in this country under the worst conditions.
Steed was one of the hundreds of protesters who rallied on Capitol Hill today, demanding that the Democratic Party fulfill the promises it made on childcare, healthcare, and more. That was echoed by Beatriz Gutierrez of the Arizona Dream Act Coalition, who said Congress needs to include immigration reform in the package.
We're here to ask Congress to vote in favor of including the immigrants in the package, and we are here to ask Biden and the Vice President to fulfill their promises that they gave us, that they were going to be with us, and they are not fulfilling it.
Immigration is just one of the sticking points on the package. It's the price tag that led Democratic Senators Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona and Joe Manchin of West Virginia to demand cuts. But Steed urged Sinema to look past the cost to the benefits.
I don't feel that Kyrsten Sinema has a pulse on Arizona. If she did, she would realize we have a fentanyl overdose crisis.
After protesting outside the Supreme Court, the demonstrators walked to the nearby Senate office buildings in hopes of delivering letters to Sinema and Manchin, but were turned away because the buildings are still closed to the public because of COVID.
I beg Kyrsten Sinema to see the goodness in this plan. Nothing is perfect. You can't cherry pick this bill. Just pass it, and then what doesn't work, we'll take out of the next 10 years from now.
Gutierrez says lawmakers should listen to the people, even though those who may not be able to vote.
We are asking, we are hoping. We cannot vote, but we can go out and register votes. We knock on doors so that people can go out to vote, and so that they could win and now be in the White House.
Democratic leaders say they hope to have a deal finalized this week. And a spokesperson for the Senator Sinema said the senator continues to work diligently to reach agreement on a plan. In Washington, Kimberly Silverio-Bautista, Cronkite News.
Cindy McCain and former Arizona Senator Jeff Flake now have diplomatic posts. Both McCain and Flake were nominated for the positions by President Joe Biden, and the Senate confirmed them as ambassadors yesterday. McCain will serve as an ambassador to the United Nations Agency for Food and Agriculture, which will focus on working towards ending global hunger and improving food equity in other countries. Meanwhile, Flake will serve as the next ambassador to Turkey.
University of Arizona researchers have developed a wearable mesh device that can detect diseases. This device can diagnose disease and help monitor treatments. It can also measure frailty in older adults. This device will help speed up the time it normally takes to test for diseases, according to the researcher behind the device. The device charges wirelessly and even has a small energy storage unit so that you can, as the wearer, go about their daily life.
Arizona State University is partnering with Blue Origin to create a business park in space. The space station, dubbed as the Orbital Reef, will orbit in low Earth and offer infrastructure for a variety of markets, including manufacturing, travel, and education. The vice president of ASU's Interplanetary Initiative says the Orbital Reef will provide more opportunities for people to experience space. The project is set to be completed by the end of this decade.
As levels of the Colorado River continue to decline, farmers worry about the reliability of water in Arizona. Up next, how the Central Arizona Project's newest collaboration is using technology to combat the water shortage in Arizona.
Pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns are a staple of Halloween traditions, but by placing them outside your homes, you may receive unplanned wildlife visits. Stay tuned to find out how you can prevent this.
She's the White House correspondent for the PBS NewsHour.
It has been a historic and traumatic week in Washington, D.C.
Former reporter for the New York Times, political analyst for NBC, and multimedia journalist at USA Today.
Join me this week and every week for a critical look at this week's top news stories.
Yamiche Alcindor, the new moderator of Washington Week.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream. For the first time ever, our most popular programs have been selected just for you.
But there's so much more.
Whether you like to travel,
wow,
feast,
and calories don't count.
Look back,
That is me.
discover.
And you know the whole story.
There's something for everyone.
Let's get to it right away.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
The Colorado River drought has brought bad news to farmers across the Southwest. Some farmers already face drastic shortages, and more water cuts are expected as we enter 2022. However, reporter Diana Quintero tells us about a new technology that could bring some relief to farmers.
This new technology comes from an Israeli company that is now being tested around the world. It's being used to grow sorghum in Australia, sugarcane in Thailand, and now cotton here in Arizona.
The Central Arizona Project is developing several initiatives to make Arizona's water more reliable in the future. They are focused on water conservation, desalination, and recycling, as well as irrigation efficiency.
We're optimistic that over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll have a new array of tools to improve the water supply to Arizona.
One new tool is a partnership with the Israeli company ANDRADE. It converts flood-irrigated fields into a drip system that uses gravity with no external form of energy.
And flood irrigation is by far the most water-consumptive, wasteful, unsustainable, bad for the world, possible use of irrigation.
Siegel says ANDRADE helps save 50% of the water used and increases the yield. ANDRADE is already successful in Israel's hot and dry climate. A farm in Tonopah is testing the new technology. They found they saved 30% of their water used to grow cotton.
I've been very pleasantly surprised with how well it has worked. I had very low expectations. I do think the crop's better. We have saved water and we have saved on other inputs. So,
another plus, the new technology also means they need less fertilizer and it reduces carbon emissions by 60 to 70%.
And that even if tomorrow we knew there was going to be stable rain for the rest of our lives, I would argue that you'd want to convert to a system like ANDRADE or ANDRADE.
The Central Arizona Project is currently in the demonstration phase to see if this new system works, but they are optimistic that as ANDRADE is an inexpensive way to bring a long-term solution to Arizona's water problem. In the newsroom, Diana Quintero, Cronkite News.
The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service held a virtual briefing about changes to the Mexican wolf recovery plan. The wolf has been protected under the Endangered Species Act since 1976. They were released into specific areas of Arizona and New Mexico in 1998. Since then, their numbers in the wild have grown to almost 350. The proposed revisions include increasing the limit of wolves in the wild to increase genetic diversity. The changes will modify the approach and execution of the recovery plan, but not the population area and management zones.
The Halloween season may be upon us, but putting up certain spooky decorations may attract some unwanted trick-or-treaters. For years, Arizona Game and Fish Department has been warning people that leaving pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns outside will attract javelinas as well as other wildlife like coyotes, deer, squirrels, and even bears. Arizona Central spoke with a representative from Arizona Game and Fish who says that it's best to put pumpkins on elevated surfaces or inside by a window to avoid unplanned wildlife encounters.
Sweater weather and the autumn winds are here, and it's time to bundle up. With more on the recent drop to cooler temperatures is MILAN Andrade in the Cronkite News Weather Center.
Happy last Wednesday of October, everybody, as we continue into the week with the high temperatures of tomorrow. As we go up north, we'll notice low 60s and even mid 60s and 70 in Holbrook. But as we go to the southern half of the state, we're looking at 80s all around, except in Yuma, Arizona, we're looking at 90 degrees. Going into the lows for tomorrow, however, up north gets very chilly, below freezing in Flagstaff and in Window Rock, Arizona. But the southern half is going to be a little warmer, so if you're up north, make sure you're bundling up. And down on the southern half, make sure you're just layering with a light jacket. Going into the evening planner for tonight, great sweater weather, as we would say as Arizona natives. 75 at 6 p.m. and dropping all the way down to 67 by 10. And as we go into the evening, the 8-day forecast, we'll notice it's an 88 high for tomorrow and 91 high on Friday. But as we continue in through the rest of the week, we'll notice that on the spookiest day of the year, Sunday, it's going to be a nice 85 and cloudy and a low of 60. And continuing through the rest of the week till next Thursday, 84 is the high and 57 as the low. In the Cronkite News Weather Center, I'm MILAN Andrade.
All this week, we're highlighting efforts to stop misinformation. It's all part of Media Literacy Week. Tonight, Jordan Spurgeon explains what algorithms are and how they impact the content you see on social media.
What is a social media algorithm? According to Sprout Social, social media algorithms sort posts in a user's feed based on relevancy rather than publish time. To put it simply, when you click on something, the social media site will give you more of it. This could include certain media outlets or political viewpoints. Social media algorithms can be helpful because they prioritize which content a user sees in their feed based on the likelihood they'll actually want to see it. But algorithms can also have a dark side. When people only encounter information that reflects or reinforces their own views, they can find themselves in an echo chamber. Echo chambers can circulate misinformation and distort a person's perspective, so much so that they have difficulty discussing opposing viewpoints and complicated topics. That's because echo chambers are fueled by confirmation bias, which is a tendency to favor information that reinforces existing beliefs. So next time you're online, know how algorithms impact your news diet.
You can find more information about media literacy and how to fight misinformation on our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
I'm Morgan Carden. Coming up after the break, I'll have your Cronkite Sports Report. A couple big names in the Valley help promote one of the Coyotes' newest programs.
Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream. For the first time ever, our most popular programs have been selected just for you.
But there's so much more.
Whether you like to travel,
Wow.
feast,
And calories don't count.
look back,
That is me.
discover.
You know the whole story.
There's something for everyone.
Let's get to it right away.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities.
How do you think that,
as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives.
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Cronkite News provides students at ASU's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism with the opportunity to gain real-world experience in the newsroom. At Cronkite News, our students produce professional content for audiences by taking on all roles, whether they be reporting, anchoring, producing, or studio production. Each department gives students first-hand professional newsroom experience. For more information, visit cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
Welcome back. I'm Morgan Carden, and here is your Cronkite Sports Report. Thursday Night Football is hosting a couple of NFC powerhouses at State Farm Stadium tomorrow night. Arizona will be shorthanded, however, with future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt ruled out due to a shoulder injury. The Cardinals are the NFL's last undefeated team and face off against the Packers in search of their first 8-0 start in franchise history. They'll take on Green Bay, which is one of just 4 teams with 1 loss in the NFC, along with the Rams, Buccaneers, and Cowboys. Looking down the road, a win here could give Arizona the advantage in a tiebreaker against the Packers if needed when it comes to playoff time. Cardinals wide receiver Christian KIRK believes that the outcome of Thursday's game is only a stepping stone for what's to come.
Whether this goes the way we want or the way we don't want it to, I think the big thing is, each game, from here on out, now that we're 7-0, is it's going to be bigger than the next. It's going to be bigger than the previous one. So I know guys definitely know that there's some implications. So we got to bring it every time we step on the field.
Now to college football. ASU is making headlines as well. ASU quarterback Jaden Daniels was just named a candidate for the Davey O'Brien Trophy, which is awarded to the best college QB in the country. The signal caller is hoping to be the first finalist from Arizona State since Jake Plummer in 1996. Coming off the bye, ASU is 5-2 and battling with Utah for the Pac-12 South title. Head coach HERM Edwards took a different approach when talking to the captains, including Daniels, about what needs to change for the rest of the year.
I wrote him a nice letter, actually, and told him what I expected out of him. So sometimes I think when you talk to them in person, that's one thing, but when they can read it and look at it, it kind of sinks in. I know I've always been that way. When I get a letter from somebody, it's kind of like, okay, I really got to focus in on what this thing is saying.
The Coyotes celebrated Hispanic Heritage Month by providing free skating lessons to Spanish-speaking kids who have never been on the ice before. Cronkite News reporter Evan Osherwitz looks into how this Learn to Skate program is helping the Coyotes market hockey to the Hispanic community.
In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, the Coyotes are holding a series of Spanish-language skating clinics at AZ Ice in Peoria. The program, called Los Jaulitos, serves kids from boys and girls clubs across the valley and is part of the team's larger initiative to build support in the Hispanic community.
We are finding those young men and women that will want to play, will want to go home, tell their parents, that was a lot of fun. I enjoy it, I like it, and let's go down and see if it's something that I want to pursue.
It's a great sport. I think everyone should get a chance. And for us to be able to have an opportunity to kind of reach into the Hispanic community a little bit and give them something that I think is so special, I think it's huge for us.
Los Jaulitos is the brainchild of Coyotes Hispanic Hockey Development Coordinator Jonah Rodriguez, who says many Hispanic children never get the chance to try hockey because of the cost of equipment and ice time. Rodriguez wants Los Jaulitos to allow them to get more familiar with the sport.
My big thing is just exposing as many kids as we can, and if we get a few that want to play, then that's great, and if we don't, then that's okay too, as long as maybe they'll start following the sport, or they'll start following the Coyotes.
Once enough kids pass through the program, Rodriguez plans to hold more clinics that emphasize hockey fundamentals and skill development. But he says they aren't quite there yet.
We're kind of just starting with skating for now, and we're trying to see if we get enough interest. And once we do, if we get enough kids that are really interested in the program, then yeah, we'll definitely transition into more of a little howlers kind of thing, where it's a learn to play more than a learn to skate.
It may take time for Los Jaulitos to evolve into a full-blown learn to play program, But the Coyotes' effort to build a grassroots fan base in the Hispanic community seems to be off to a good start. In Peoria, Evan Osherwitz, Cronkite News.
After a slow start to the year, the Suns finally get back on the court today to take on Sacramento. Phoenix hasn't played since their blowout loss on Saturday in Portland. But now the team is starting a 5-game homestand. The Hawks will be the only opponent that finished over 500 last year during the stretch. The Suns will still be without backup point guard Cameron Payne as he continues to deal with a hamstring injury. The team is glad to be home, but no one is more excited to be back than DeAndre Ayton.
Me, I think I'm just now getting started. Now I'm home. I don't like being on the road that early in the season, but now I'm home. I get to sink into this season, and practice has turned up a little bit. We got our conditioning in, and we ready, man.
Today is the 20th anniversary of Game 1 of the Diamondbacks World Series against the Yankees in 2001. It comes a day after the opening game of the 2021 Fall Classic featuring the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros. The Braves got off to a fast start in Houston, scoring 5 runs in the first 3 innings, after Jorge Soler led the game off with a solo home run. Although the Braves hit their mark yesterday, starting pitcher Charlie Morton will miss the remainder of the World Series after suffering a fractured right fibula and left the game in the 3rd inning. The Astros will try to even the series tonight in Houston. And that is going to do it for today's Cronkite Sports Report. Back to you, Karen and Julia.
The original Navajo taco stand has operated at the State Fair for more than half a century. After the break, how they're keeping Navajo culture alive with their authentic cuisine.
Here we go, lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
What you get from Washington Week that you will not get anywhere else are the best and the brightest reporters from different media companies, and they're able to have a real conversation about things that are happening in Washington and around the country. But it's also a show about issues that are relevant to different communities.
How do you think that,
as the moderator, I feel this deep responsibility to bring in those other perspectives so that people understand how power and politics impact their daily lives?
Friday nights at 7 on Arizona PBS.
Your favorite member benefit is getting better and bigger.
This is wonderful.
Over the next year, Passport is adding new shows and doubling the number of episodes for you to stream.
They give us all that they've got.
From your favorite cooking and travel series.
Even the stairs are breathtaking.
To history specials and award-winning documentaries. Better and bigger.
That really is the fun part.
Stream on any device with Passport on the PBS Video app.
Cronkite News is more than your local news station. Through our innovative ideas, we create new ways to connect with our viewers and have their stories be heard. Our cutting-edge technology allows us to take a deeper dive into seeking the truth and delivering new perspectives. Stay up to date on top Arizona stories anytime on TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook at Cronkite News.
It's the final week of the Arizona State Fair for family and friends to head to the fairgrounds for thrilling rides and shocking shows. Our reporter Sydney Whitty isn't there for either. She went to the fair and found some food that provides more than just sustenance.
This year, there are nearly 80 food vendors at the Arizona State Fair. If you're hungry, you can find anything from the flaming hot corn dog to crepes. But we found one vendor who's bringing culture to the table.
The original Navajo taco stand at the Arizona State Fair has been operated by the same Navajo family for over half a century. The family says it's important for them to spread their culture by sharing family recipes.
You know, we are here with what we've learned from our grandmother and mother and father, and now here continue on with the same ingredients and everything they started with.
The original Navajo taco stand is the only one remaining at the Arizona State Fair.
There used to be, I believe, like 8 different tribes here, and we were all lined up, and you know, they all made the bread, the fried bread.
Mitchell says it goes beyond just food.
To me, if we were to leave, then the native culture would be gone from the state fair completely.
It's clear authenticity keeps customers coming back.
Because I am actually a Navajo, Native American, and we always buy from them because they are the best.
Bennett attempts to make fry bread herself, but says it doesn't compare. The fry bread at the original Navajo taco stand is handmade and unique to the family.
Even the bread process is something that is learned from a child. Making the dough, how to prepare the bread by hand.
The ingredients, the history, they embody what it means to be a Native American.
We strive to continue to push for our culture, our language, the arts to continue.
The original Navajo taco stand has been in business for 56 years and plan to continue sharing their culture within the Arizona State Fair.
The family brings their own flour and ingredients from New Mexico in order to maintain their authentic Navajo tacos for everyone to enjoy and spread their native culture. At the State Fair, Sydney Whitty for Cronkite News.
If you would like to get a taste of the fair but haven't had a chance to make it out there this year, our reporters have been reporting from the fair all month. We've created an interactive video platform where you can navigate the fairgrounds and get a behind-the-scenes peek at everything from the livestock judging to craft vendors and more. You can choose the stories you want to learn more about on our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org. You can also find top Arizona stories there as well. That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night on Arizona PBS.